Here's the thing, guys. It doesn't take that much to turn ReaComp into just a disgusting, horrible sounding distortion. Check this out. All you need to do is make the attack and release too fast and turn down the RMS size. That's not a clean compressor by any means. Make it even worse. Hey guys, welcome to another Reaper blog tutorial. Today we're going to answer the question, is ReaComp actually a clean compressor? And since you've seen the intro already, you know that this has the potential of sounding really horrible. And so I wonder why people often consider ReaComp to be very transparent, super clean, all that. Is it just the interface? Is it that in normal circumstances, normal settings, or even the default settings, does it actually preserve transients, preserve the character of the sound? It's not to my ears, but let's actually put some science behind this, put some analysis tools behind this and see what's actually going on. Our testing process is just going to be really basic, minimal, built-in stock plugins. We're going to use a tone generator, an oscilloscope, and a spectrum analyzer. These are all JS plugins that come with Reaper. And guys, I'm well aware of Dan Worrell's video. You don't need to mention it in the comments unless you really want to, but I've already seen it. I've already gone through it. And ReaComp has been updated since that video came out, so it's not entirely accurate anymore. All right, so I'm going to reset this to the default settings, and I'm going to set this up the way that I would kind of normally approach this particular bass guitar. So I'm going to turn up the ratio to, like, I don't know, 4:1 or something like that. Turn down the threshold a bit till we get some gain reduction. I'll match that by turning up the output mix. I'm going to turn off these options, classic attack and weird knee. So I slowed down the attack a little bit to get a little bit more thump. There is kind of where I would go with this bass guitar. Not hitting it too much. I'm not really hearing any color, but let's just hear it one more time. Bypass it. Pretty dark either way. Let's keep this setting. We're going to add in a tone generator. I'm actually going to put this on an empty MIDI item here. And go to my utilities folder and add in a tone generator. So I'm doing this on a MIDI item so that this tone only plays during playback and only in this section. So I'm going to set this to, let's say, 50 Hertz. Pretty common for a bass guitar to hit 50 Hertz and using a sine shape. So let's bypass this. Bypassing the compressor sounds like this. Clean sine wave. Let's hear it with the compressor. Pretty similar, but it is doing something. Put on a meter here. So let's do the oscilloscope meter. So here's the 50 Hertz tone by itself. And we're adding in ReaComp. Yeah, it's not really doing too much. Let's look at the frequency spectrum analyzer. And so ReaComp off, ReaComp on. So you can see there's something happening there, kind of above 200 Hertz. There is some movement in there. So in this case, with these settings, it's not actually doing too much, negatively affecting the tone. So if we're getting about 6 dB of gain reduction on this, it's not actually generating a lot of harmonics. Now, where would we start to get saturation or harmonics generated at 50 Hertz? We could try higher ratio. We could try reducing the RMS size. We could increase the attack time. Let's start with attack time. So in the oscilloscope, it's not really changing anything there. We're not really seeing any of harmonics happening there. But on the spectrum analyzer, I think you can see that there is actually some harmonics being generated, right? Because the 50 hertz tone on its own is kind of just this low area here. But when we turn on ReaComp, there's all sorts of things happening here above. It's pretty low level, but it's there. So we've already proven that it's not, perfectly transparent, perfectly clean. So the attack time really affects that. What else? How about release? Turning the release down to 0 adds in an audible buzz, and we can really see it on the oscilloscope. So ratio does affect this, but not quite so much. And then changing the RMS size, I think that's where we're going to see a big difference here. Now we're getting more of kind of a rounded square wave. So the ratio doesn't really affect the wave shape until we turn down the RMS size. So that's at 50 hertz. Let's change this to 100 hertz and see how that changes. So that's what it looks like by itself on the oscilloscope and on the spectrum analyzer. We'll enable ReaComp, generating lots of harmonics here. Pretty audibly, there is some saturation happening there. And at 100 hertz, it's really not that clean. I'm not doing anything that's too far outside of what you would normally do, I think. Pretty common to have fast attacks on snare drums and kick drums and things like that. Okay, so we've got this on the kick drum now, and I'm going to adjust this to make it kind of sound right to my ears. So kind of what I would typically do if I was compressing a kick drum. So sounds good right there, before and after. So if we go over to the tone generator, here's what it looks like now. So that's at 100 hertz, and to my ear, that's actually generating some harmonics. So without So I would say that you can actually get kind of these harmonics, distortions happening, even if you're not, really pushing the RMS size low, pushing the attack time all the way down, that sort of thing, intentionally getting distortion. I set this plugin by ear, and I got distortion if I compare it on a tone generator. So that was ReaComp on this kick drum. Let's listen to a compressor that's known for having some character. So this is the BX Townhouse bus compressor. So again, going to play it on the kick drum and set this kind of by ear, how I would normally approach compressing this kick drum using this compressor. So a totally different type of compressor, approaching it the same way, just adjusting by ear. This one doesn't have options like adjusting the RMS size. the SSL style compressors are known for having some character. It's here the 50 hertz tone by itself, and then through the plugin. It's very similar to what we saw with the other one. So at 100 hertz, probably generating more. And let's go back to ReaComp, same settings as before. I've got the townhouse a little bit louder, but you can see that ReaComp adds distortion just like every other compressor out there. So I guess the main takeaway from this is to actually question what you're hearing. You know, does the appearance of the plugin actually affect or trick you into thinking that it's cleaner or dirtier than it actually is? So you can take whatever you consider to be the grungiest compressor, run some tones through it, look at how it actually affects the frequency spectrum or the oscilloscope, and is that confirming what you're hearing? To me, ReaComp is a lot more dirty than you would think from its appearance, and something like the Townhouse bus compressor with all of its grime and stuff on the interface is actually a lot cleaner than you would think. And I've done these sorts of tests with my other plugins. I think it's really worth doing these sorts of tests on a regular basis just to kind of train your ears to hearing where the sweet spot of different plugins is. And if you have some sort of bias towards a particular plugin, why is that? Is it because it's clean or because it's colored? Is it actually colored or is it just the interface? And so that's where I'm going to leave it for today. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You can follow me on Facebook and Twitter, support the Reaper blog through Patreon, and visit reaperblog.net for a lot more tutorials.